Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making Barb's Honey Oat Biscuits. The original recipe club, don't forget to send in your recipes. It is so simple, so basic, and it made 72 biscuits. 72 biscuits from such basic ingredients. Stay tuned and I'll show you how we do it. Now I'm excited to make these because I love honey and I love oats, and it's made with basic ingredients. The only thing that I didn't have was self-raising flour, but I was happy to go and get it for this recipe. So the first thing we have to do for this recipe is put the oven on. Now normally my go-to is 180, but today we're only going to 160, so I'm putting my fan forced oven on 160. So to start with, we're using 2 cups of rolled oats. So like any recipe, as soon as I read it, I try and divide the recipe. I love it when you can just have dry ingredients and then you put your wet in. So that's how I'm gonna do this recipe. There wasn't any real strict instructions other than a little bracket saying sift, but I took the brackets as being optional, so I'm not gonna sift. But we'll see how we go. So 2 cups of rolled oats, and then 1 cup of self-raising flour. Now let's see how much mess I can make with this getting it out of the bag. So 1 cup, and then I might just put that aside so I don't knock it over. I have a good track record in the kitchen, don't I? Okay, now we're going to add 1 cup of raw sugar. It's a big scoop. And then our bicarb soda. So I know you're supposed to sift your bicarb soda because it always has lumps in it, but to avoid that, I just put it in my hand and just make sure there's no lumps in it. It looked like I sifted it, didn't it? So that's what I do. Now, I'm just gonna mix all those together. I don't know about you, but sometimes you just read a recipe and you know you're gonna like it. You just know the ingredients are gonna be something that's gonna be tasty, and I think this is gonna be one of them. Now, apparently this makes a fair few biscuits. It doesn't look like it because there's not many ingredients. Okay, so that's all mixed through. Let's pop that aside and do our wet ingredients. So to start with, I'm gonna melt my butter. So I always do my butter first so that I can just pop it in the microwave and then just add my other wet ingredients to it. You don't want to do it around the other way because you don't want to heat up all your other ingredients. I need a knife. I'm hoping that I have 125 grams of butter here. It looks like I did. If I don't, I'll grab some more. 127. So then I've got my microwave just here. So when I melt my butter, I just do 10 seconds, 10 seconds. This butter's at room temperature, so it's not gonna take very long. And I really don't like it when it spits all over my microwave. So I just do 10, 10. Okay, so that's my butter. Now that's had 30 seconds. And as you can see, it's not completely melted, but it doesn't matter as long as it's soft enough that it's gonna go through your recipe. So just give that a little whisk, and then we're gonna add all of our other wet ingredients into here. So what have we got? We've got vanilla extract, a teaspoon. Now I never measure. I always just think that's about a teaspoon. And then we've got an egg. So we'll pop our egg in here as well, not into our dry ingredients. So that's our egg. So let's get our honey in. Now it says a tablespoon of honey, but I don't know about you, my tablespoon, it always just gets clogged in there. So I just go thereabouts. And then I just use my finger and get it off my spoon. And I don't have, I just put it on the handle. Now when you mix your wet ingredients separate to your dry ingredients, it just makes it just so much easier. Now just mix them together. Oh, that honey and that butter. That smells amazing. So in it goes. And then we're just gonna mix it. It's the same consistency as when you make an Anzac biscuit, but instead of smelling golden syrup, I'm smelling honey, and they smell great. So that's our mix. It's pretty sticky, but because of the amount of butter in there, it's not gonna stick to my fingers. So instead of me trying to use little spoons, I'm gonna just use my hand. So I'm gonna roll these into balls and I'm not gonna flatten them out. My thought process behind this is they got a lot of butter in them, so they are gonna spread. So if I keep them in little balls, then I might get a little biscuit shape instead of a flat Anzac biscuit. But I'm gonna roll these into balls and then just pop them in the oven and see what I get. And then as I go along, I can change them and make whatever shape I want. Your biscuits don't always have to all be the same. They don't have to look like store-bought. You can have some that are thick, some that are thin and crunchy, some that are soft and chewy. Doesn't matter. Now Barb says these can go in the freezer. My favourite thing, biscuits in the freezer, but she did say be warned, they can be eaten frozen. Can you believe that? Okay, now I've got 18 biscuits onto this tray. Now I don't know if I've done the right thing or not, but we'll see what happens. I have a feeling they might spread and stick together and we might end up with a big clump of biscuit. Well, then we can just turn it into a biscuit base for something else, can't we? Put them in the oven. I'm just gonna set my oven timer for about 8 minutes, I think. Now this mix that I've got here, like I said, it's got 125 grams of butter in it. So if you just leave this sit here on your bench for it to firm up, because we melted that butter, as this cools down, your mix goes a little bit firmer. So when you do make your biscuits with a firmer mix, it just means that your biscuits don't spread as quickly as they would if you made them like that straight away. Remember when we did the melting moments, we let our mix go a little bit colder on the tray and then we press the fork into them to give them the little cracks around the outside. Well, same things apply to other biscuits. So don't be in a hurry. I mean, if you want to mix these up and then just leave it for 10 minutes because you've got something else to do, you can come back to it. I wouldn't go as far as putting it in the fridge, even in a warm kitchen. As long as this gets back to room temperature, it will firm up a lot more. So that'll slow your biscuits down. So we'll see how these come out as to what we do with our next tray. So I'll wait for that oven timer and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I've just checked on the biscuits. They look great. Now they haven't stuck together. They've stayed in little balls. So they're a funny shaped little biscuit. Maybe I did the wrong thing. I should have flattened it out. But I'm thinking that they might sink because of the self-raising flour. Have they puffed up and then when they cool, are they gonna sink? Let's see. I'll bring them out and show you straight away. Let's have a look. So they've had about 6-7 minutes. It's hard to be precise when you're using the little turn dial. Now look at these. They have puffed up. I hope you can see that. But I am thinking that they're gonna sink. Now, I could just leave these on my tray to cool, but I wanna keep using this tray. I only have 2 of them. So what I do to make my biscuits cool is just pull them off the tray. So you can just whip that off onto your bench or whip it off onto here. I'll just pop mine straight onto my bench. And I'm starting to see that they're sinking down into a biscuit. So I think the balls was a good thing. I don't want them any thinner or flatter than that. I think that's gonna be a beautiful biscuit. So I'm gonna stick with the balls. But if you want a flatter biscuit, then you go right ahead. I'll do a couple of flat ones. No, I won't. Because I know I won't like them like that. If you want flat ones, you go and do flat ones. I'm sticking with the balls. So I'm gonna do the same. So what did we say? We got 18 biscuits on that one tray. So I'm gonna do the same, 5, 4, 5, 4. So I'll keep going. I'm gonna get another 18 on this tray and then there's at least another 2 trays worth in my bowl still. So this is gonna make a lot of biscuits. 2 cups of rolled oats, 1 cup of flour, some sugar, and a couple of things. You've got a lot of biscuits. The costing on this must be so cheap. And so much better, no preservative. Now don't forget if you're watching this video to press that subscribe button. It just lets me know that you're there. A lot of people watch the videos and they don't subscribe. I'm one of them. I watch YouTube all the time and I forget to subscribe and like. But since doing my videos, I've been more conscious of it. And especially to the original recipe club, oh, please send your recipes in. I thought it would be a little bit more popular than it has. So they're ready to go in. I'm gonna pop them in. Same thing, about the 6-7 minute mark, but they're cooking really fast. So now I'll be ready to do that tray, do that. We'll have a bit of a production line going on here. I'll wash my hands. Okay, so that's our second tray of biscuits in. They're pretty quick. I think they're cooking as quick as I can roll them. Now these were really, really soft when we brought them out of the oven, but now they've firmed up. I don't know how firm they'll go, they're still warm. So I'm just gonna pop these here on my cooling rack, and then we can continue to reuse our same piece of paper. Oh, these smell so good, Barb. These are fantastic. So just pop them to cool and then keep using your same piece of paper, and let's just keep going, keep rolling. And speaking of people subscribing to my channel, I would like to take this time to thank you all for subscribing, and your comments, they have been amazing. I'm just loving it, and I'm loving having you guys communicate. So send your recipes in to me, regardless of what they are. So that's our third tray of biscuits. I was a bit faster this time. I felt like I was trying to race the timer. I could have slowed down and chatted with you for longer. But I'll just leave those there. I'll wash my hands, and that timer is about to go off and they're gonna be ready. So it's timing quite well. So I'll do the same. I'll put them on the bench, the tray will cool, and I'll keep on going. It's really important when you bring them out that you let them set and go a bit harder. These are going crunchy. Oh, I can't wait to taste one. So I do think that we've got enough ingredients to make another tray. So that's going to be 4 trays of 18 biscuits. Now, if you want to see my brain tick over to work that out, my gosh, the easiest way for me is to times 15 by 4. So what does that give us? 30, 60, plus another 12. Is that 72? I'd have to get my phone out and my calculator. Anyway, it's a lot of biscuits. We're ending up with a lot of biscuits from simple ingredients. Amazing. Now Barb's chosen the blue, I can't remember what I think Kay had the orange, I can't remember. But just remember, when you send in your recipe and I make your recipe, I will post you out these beautiful little oven mitts that I do make myself from Bendigo Wool Mill cotton, and they are amazing. You see me use them all the time. Mine are a bit trashed, but I've had them for a long time. And they are so good. I use them on my cast iron, I use them on everything, and I just hand wash them. They're lovely. So you do get a set of those. So if that doesn't make you send your recipe in, come on. Let's get these biscuits out. I've changed my mind. I think I might just let them go a little bit further so that I get some crunchy ones. So these ones, I think, as they're cooling, are a little bit soft. That's exactly how my husband likes them. He loves a chewy biscuit. Me, sometimes I like chewy, but then sometimes I go for a crunchy. So I think if I leave these for a little bit longer, they'll go crunchy. But don't burn them. I almost burnt my cupcakes this morning. And I forgot to put the sugar in my cupcakes. The basic cupcake recipe, I forgot to put the sugar. So when I went to eat them, they just didn't taste good. So anyway, problem solved. I just put icing on the top of them. So they've got sugar on them now. Now when you are taking your biscuits that little bit further, don't take your eye off them because they cook really fast. They can go too far with your brown and then they get that horrible burn. You don't want that on your biscuits. So I'm gonna get those out of the oven and pop these ones straight in. And then you can see that I took those ones that little bit further. Lovely, golden. Now, like I said, these are still really soft when they come out of the oven, really, really soft. So if you start trying to handle these now, you're just gonna ruin the shape of them. So be patient, leave them. But if you're like me, Just whip them off the tray. Voila. And your tray will cool a lot quicker. But you still have to wait for your paper. I could get another piece out, but I'm not going to. I'm recycling this. Now this paper, I won't throw this away after making these biscuits. I'll use this paper again to make our ginger nuts. Now that's coming. So now these ones are cool, and as we said, we're gonna end up with a lot of biscuits. So you can start stacking these on top, because you don't wanna put your hot biscuits on your cold biscuits. You wanna put your hot biscuits on your flat tray, because if you start piling them up, you'll end up with them all funny shapes. So they're firm enough now. Look how quick that was. They're firm enough now for me to touch, because they've cooled on my bench a little bit quicker. And off we go again. Now this is probably gonna be our last tray, I'd say. There could be more, I don't know. I didn't put the timer on, did I? That's where you guys, it'd be so good if you could talk to me. You could say, Mel, your timer, put it on. Let's put it on 6 minutes, because I think that was about 2. Okay, we're back on track. So one more tray of biscuits. Look at this, what a production line. I love it when a recipe makes a lot. Oh. So thanks again, Barb, for your recipe. I really appreciate you sending your recipes in. You guys have been a little bit slack with your recipes, but I'm just giving you some time until I start nagging at you for recipes. Some of you have given me a little hint of things to come, but I think you're just not giving them up to me yet. Maybe I've got to build up a little bit more trust. Now, we're on our 4th tray here, and honestly, I think it's gonna make a few extra. I'm not gonna squeeze any more onto this tray, because I really don't want them to stick together. They're making such beautiful biscuits. I hope you try this recipe. It was so easy. 1 bowl, 1 little jug, very little mess. I know my kitchen looks messy, but I get all these things out, so it's easy for you rather than watch me going back and forth to my cupboards. Now we've done something wrong. I've missed one. Now that's it, 4 trays. Look, I've probably got, let's be daring and see if we can squeeze another one on here without them sticking together. So that's what I've got left. So look at how many biscuits we've got. We've got a tray in, this is our 4th tray, 4 trays of biscuits. From very little ingredients. I was really surprised how far it went. Fantastic, what a cheap recipe, and super easy. This is something that I will continue to make. Thank you so much for sending in your recipe. Let's get these ones out. Wow, these are great. Now I don't have to tip these off now, I can just leave those there to cool, and then we'll pop them on there, they'll all be cool. Now we've got over 70 biscuits. I don't know how many biscuits you get in a packet, but you certainly don't get 70. This would have cost us minimal, under $5, easy. 1 egg, and you price that out. My bag of flour, which I could still make so much more. Look, my estimation is that we've made this for around the $3. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but these days, eggs are the dearest thing for us. I think I paid $13 for a dozen eggs the other day. I'm getting chickens. And I don't just say that, I really am getting chickens. My previous property, I had chickens and I really miss them. And a chicken, a live laying hen, is $27. It's a no-brainer, right? $13 for eggs, $27 for a chicken. I know you have to feed it, but I have a vegetable garden and I have things that can go to the chickens. They are definitely worth having, but they are a commitment. But I don't mind committing to what I call my girls, or my daughter, the Patricias. She calls them the Patricias. I don't know, that's a long story, I'll tell it to you one day, but the Patricias. That's what the chickens are known as. So when I'm gonna pop these in my freezer after they're cooled, I'll show you what I do. I just store them in one of these bags. I just put them all in Ziploc and lay them in the freezer. It's the easiest way to store biscuits. Well, it is for me. And then I'll show you how I store my cupcakes. Now, the reason that I always look for a recipe that is 12, because these containers from Kmart, I think they were $4, maybe $6. They're so good in the freezer. They're the cupcakes that I forgot to put sugar in, that I put icing on this morning instead. They fit 12 in these containers, and that's how I store my cakes in the freezer. And being such a cheap container, you would think they split in the freezer. Oops, I just tipped my cupcakes. Doesn't matter. But they don't. I've used these over and over again. Like, I just got that out of the freezer then, and that is still really flexible. The lid doesn't go brittle, it doesn't snap. So that's Kmart. And they stack really nice. Try them for your cupcakes. But I'll put these in the freezer in those. So there's our last tray of biscuits. We are done. It was so simple. What a quick recipe. In the freezer they will go. I will put some in the pantry so that everybody can have some straight away if they don't grab them when they're walking past here now. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's really important that you subscribe as well as like. So don't forget, it's important to me. It's just a click for you. So until next time, enjoy these biscuits. Thanks again, Barb. Your blue pot holders are on their way. Well, they're not yet. They will be this afternoon. This was fantastic. Thanks again. And until next time, please take care and enjoy these biscuits as much as I'm going to. They'll be 70 in no time at all. See you next time.